Okay, let's unpack this. If you think navigating dating today, swiping, ghosting, trying to figure out what that text really means is complicated,
Oh, boy.
then just wait. Because we're about to drop you into something that makes modern dating look, I don't know, incredibly simple.
Yeah, like a walk in the park almost.
Right. Imagine a world where just, like, catching someone's eye the wrong way could send completely the wrong signal.
Or lifting your hat was this whole coded message system.
And accepting, say, a small gift could totally sink your reputation faster than anything today.
It's a completely different social landscape, isn't it? Governed by really strict etiquette, chaperones constantly watching, and just a fundamentally different idea of what pursuing a relationship even meant. They wouldn't have called it dating, not like we do.
What do they call it?
Well, the formal process, the courtship, was often called making love.
Making love. Wow, that immediately tells you something, doesn't it? About the intention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It emphasizes this careful, deliberate, almost crafting of a potential marriage.
And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today. What courtship or making love was really like.
But not just theoretically. We're looking at it through the eyes of someone actually living it.
Yeah, we're focusing on a specific time and place. London, mid-1850s, heart of the Victorian era.
And the source we're using is really interesting for this. It's a narrative transcript
Okay.
that basically puts you, the listener, directly into the experience. You become this young woman navigating the whole thing.
So our mission in this deep dive, it's really to explore those super rigid rules, right?
Definitely. And the things nobody said but everyone understood, those unspoken expectations.
And, the actual personal journey. What it felt like trying to find a husband when everything, your whole future, depended on it.
In a world where propriety wasn't just important, it was like everything.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's transport ourselves. Picture this. It's May 1855, London.
Yeah, take a second. Imagine waking up, you're there.
You can smell the coal smoke already. It's starting to hang in the air.
Hear the horses, that constant clatter on the cobblestones outside.
And depending on the wind, maybe that lovely smell from the Thames.
The Great Stink wasn't far off, right? A city of 2.5 million people, growing like crazy, and sanitation. Still figuring that out.
Definitely. So you are a woman, 22 years old.
Respectable family, middle class, comfortable enough, maybe dad runs a business.
But no trust fund, no independent wealth waiting for you.
Which means as a woman in 1855, your security, your place in society, pretty much your whole future hangs on one thing.
Making a good marriage.
Exactly.
And your house. It's cold. Seriously cold. No central heating, not for decades.
That morning chill really bites.
You can probably hear the housemaid, Mary, already moving around. She's been up since, 5 a.m.?
Yep. Hauling those heavy coal scuttles like 30 pounds each, lighting fires downstairs.
And now you hear her coming up the stairs, bringing coal for your room.
She comes in, hands already smudged with soot, carefully gets your fire
A
going.
little bit of warmth, starting to fight back the cold.
And as she's working, she gives you the news.
Good morning, miss. Your mother says you're to dress properly today.
The Weatherbees are calling this afternoon, and they're bringing their son.
Ah, the Weatherbees. You've heard the name. Whispers, hints.
Their son. Thomas, 26, just back from India, right?
4 years away, working as a clerk for the East India Company. Powerful stuff.
So this visit, it's not just tea and polite chat.
No way. It's an inspection. For him, sure, but definitely for you.
And Mary, your maid, she's got the scoop, doesn't she? The servants network.
Oh, yeah. She's heard things from the Weatherby staff. Thomas, apparently, has all his teeth.
Which was apparently a big plus back then.
Who knew? Doesn't drink too much, likes cigars, though.
But then she adds, maybe lowers her voice a bit, 4 years in India might have given him some. Well,
Strange ideas.
strange ideas. Intriguing.
So, exotic background aside, the immediate task is presentation. Perfect presentation. And that starts with getting dressed.
Which involves
Yeah.
the corset.
Ugh, the corset. Laid out, waiting for you. Whalebone. Cotton. Designed to be laced. Tie GHT.
And Mary's the one who does it. Every single morning, squeezing your ribs.
Making it hard to take a deep breath. A luxury you can't really afford.
And why? Purely fashion. Getting that fashionable hourglass shape.
But the reality. Just constant physical discomfort. Limited movement.
And zero privacy. Your maid dresses you, undresses you, every day.
Your husband or a lady's maid takes over after marriage. So first the chemise, that's just a simple cotton undergarment.
Right. Then the corset. Mary positions it, starts pulling the laces tighter, tighter.
You brace yourself. Not too tight, Mary, you might manage to say. Voice a bit strained already.
Of course not, miss.
But she knows. It's as tight as your mother insists.
What was the rule? You should be able to speak clearly. That's the bar for comfort.
Pretty low bar.
Yeah.
Then the layers. Bustle pad to shape the back. 3 heavy petticoats.
By the time the actual dress goes on, you're wearing, what, maybe 15 pounds of fabric?
Easily.
And the shoes, soft kid leather, totally flat, button up the side. Little pearl buttons Mary has to do up with a special hook.
And they're not for walking any distance. They're for looking delicate. Taking tiny steps.
Hair is just as important. Parted right down the middle, very severe, swept back low.
Chignon at the back. Some carefully arranged curls around the face.
And the look you're going for. Pale skin is key. Shows you don't do manual labor outdoors.
Natural lips. Makeup. Definitely not for unmarried ladies. Improper.
But neat, dark eyebrows are good. It all adds up to innocence, modesty, good breeding.
Mary tells you you look lovely. You glance in the mirror. Okay, the image is polished.
But deep down, this isn't just about looking pretty. This is like a job interview presentation.
That job is wife.
Exactly. Breakfast comes, porridge, probably pretty bland, good toast, fresh baked, strong tea.
You eat carefully. Spill anything on this dress. Disaster. It's your best day dress. Dark blue wool.
Took 3 months saving up for it.
Then your mother comes in. Pre-visit briefing. She's maybe 45. You can see the worry lines.
And she doesn't mess around, does she? Straight to the point.
Thomas needs a wife. You need a husband. Plain and simple.
It's a practical arrangement, she says. But it can be pleasant if you both behave properly.
She tells you what she knows from Mrs. Weatherbeck. Thomas is well-educated, got prospects, saved some money in India.
Meaning he can actually afford to set up a house, which is crucial.
And of course, he's eager to settle down and start a family.
The polite code for the physical side of marriage that no one actually talks about.
Then she lays down the law, the rules. Not just her rules. These are straight from the etiquette books. Like, the young lady's friend.
Ah, yes. Canon law for young ladies.
Rule number 1, no gifts. Absolutely none, under any circumstances.
And the reasoning for that is fascinating, isn't it? The books literally say accepting a gift means you're encouraging.
Yeah.
Well, inappropriate attention.
Like you're fast-tracking things.
Pretty much. That one gift will lead to another, and encouragement to offer their hearts to you. It's all about control. Controlling the pace.
Wow. So accepting a little trinket could be read as basically asking for a proposal. Intense. Okay, rule 2.
No touching. Absolutely strict. No shaking hands unless Dad formally introduces you. And even then, keep it brief.
You might lightly take his arm if he offers it, like walking somewhere.
But otherwise, hands folded in your lap, demure.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Today, a casual touch, a handshake, a hug between friends. Totally normal.
Back then, any physical contact between unmarried people, hugely significant, highly restricted.
Even for engaged couples, it was mostly just holding hands, maybe a quick kiss.
And always supervised.
Always supervised. Okay, rule 3. Conversation.
Right. He leads, but you have to show you're intelligent. You read, you play music, show you've got a brain.
But don't contradict him directly. Find, gentle ways to disagree.
Exactly.
Now, that sounds like walking a tightrope. A minefield.
Totally. Too smart and you're unfeminine, maybe even threatening.
Yeah.
Too quiet or silly and you're boring.
It's this incredibly delicate balance you've basically been trained for your whole life.
It's about showing intelligence as an accomplishment, something that makes you a better wife, not something that challenges him.
Got it. And the final rule, number 4. Your mother really stresses this one.
Observation.
Yes, he's checking you out, obviously. But you need to be checking him out just as carefully.
Pay attention to the little things, the things polite chat might hide.
How does he treat the servants, like Mary? How does he talk to your father? What happens if something unexpected occurs?
And this is where the system, even with all its stiffness, kind of pushes you towards something deep.
Yeah.
It forces you to look past the surface performance, Look for real character. You have to become this really sharp observer of people.
Because your entire future depends on getting it right.
Precisely.
So after Mom leaves, you've got hours to kill before 3 p.m. You try to look composed, sit by the window, read some suitable poetry.
The house is humming around you.
Yeah.
The cook prepping. Mary sweeping the front steps again because of all the coal dust.
You watch the street,
Yeah.
milk carts, other ladies walking with their maids, A gentleman tipping his hat as he passes. Another one of those little social codes.
You might play the pianoforte for a bit, arrange the flowers, the expected things.
Lunch is simple. Eaten carefully. Corset. By 10 minutes to 3, you're in position.
Settee in the parlor. Near the window, good light.
Mother nearby with her needlework. Father by the fireplace, checking his pocket watch.
The room smells nice, beeswax polish, the flowers you just arranged, sunlight's coming in.
Clock's ticking. Your palms are probably sweating inside those white gloves. This is it. Inspection time.
The start of, well, maybe the rest of your life.
Exactly. 3.80. Sharp knock on the front door.
Voices in the hall, coats coming off, walking sticks tapping, footsteps heading for the parlor. Your heart must be pounding.
Mr. Weatherby comes in first. Then Mrs. Weatherby, she's wearing rich burgundy silk, some nice jewelry.
And then Thomas.
Taller than you thought. Brown hair, those fashionable mutton chop whiskers, lean face, dressed formally black frock coat, gray trousers, that stiff high collar.
Your father makes the introduction. You rise slowly, do the curtsy.
Just the right depth, right? Not too low, that's subservient, not too shallow, disrespectful. Just right.
Miss Hartwell, Mrs. Weatherby says, warm voice. Thomas has been quite eager for this introduction.
Thomas steps up, quick, formal bow. Miss Hartwell, voice deeper than you expected, hint of an accent.
Mr. Weatherby, you reply. You meet his eyes just for a second. That's allowed right at the start, then lower your gaze properly.
Can't hold eye contact for too long. That would be bold. Forward.
Everyone sits. Thomas gets the chair across from you. Close enough to talk, but proper distance maintained.
Your parents arrange themselves. Subtle chaperones. Always there.
The careful dance begins. Your opening line.
I trust your journey from India was a pleasant one. Safe. Standard.
He says it was long, 3 months on a ship. He's glad to be back on English soil, back in English society.
You hear maybe a little weariness in his voice.
Yeah.
Relief.
He mentions the climate in India, 100 degrees plus, so humid. You nod, like sympathetically. You've only ever been to Brighton.
He admits he actually grew to appreciate English rain.
And that's where you start observing, isn't it? His tone, appreciating rain. Little cracks in the formal front.
Exactly. And his comment about the rain, it actually makes you smile. A real smile, not the practice one.
Conversation moves on. He talks about Bombay markets, exotic fruit, managing clerks.
You talk about books you've read, music you play, life in London, all safe topics, designed to reveal character without getting too personal.
But you're watching. Just like Mom said.
When Mary brings the tea tray in, you notice Thomas gives her a polite nod. Not every gentleman would bother.
Good sign. Consideration.
Your father tells some boring joke about the weather. Thomas laughs. Sounds genuine.
Another good sign.
Then Mrs. Weatherby knocks her teacup over. Little accident, tea spills.
And Thomas reacts instantly. Jumps up, pulls out a clean handkerchief, helps her clean it up. No fuss.
Okay, so adding it up. Polite to servants, real sense of humor, helpful in a small crisis. All points in his favor.
But then something else happens. When the teacup hit the saucer, made that clatter.
He flinched.
Yeah. Not just startled, like a deep, involuntary jump. His hands clenched up.
Eyes darted to the door, like he was looking for an escape route.
Exactly. It only lasted a second or two, then he was composed again. But you saw it.
And that's why the observation rule was so crucial. In this super formal setting, those tiny involuntary things, they're gold dust.
Windows into the real person?
Yeah.
Right. Hints of stuff the polite performance can't completely hide.
Totally. You file that flinch away. Something about sudden loud noises affects him more than it should. Layers. Things the formal chat didn't reveal.
The visit lasts exactly 1 hour. Punctual start, punctual end. As they're getting ready to leave, Thomas asks for a quick word with your father in the hallway.
You watch from the doorway. Dad's nodding. Thomas is talking, gesturing a bit. They shake hands. Your father looks pleased.
Thomas comes back into the parlor. Miss Hartwell, he says, with your father's permission, I would be honored to call on you again.
Perhaps Sunday afternoon.
This is it, the formal request, the official start of the courtship.
That would be very pleasant, Mr. Weatherby, you managed to say, calmly.
After they leave, the debrief starts immediately. Your mother's verdict.
Seems quite respectable. Good posture, clean fingernails, polite to Mary, very considerate about the tea, all the surface stuff.
Your father reports on the practical side. Saved a decent amount of money, enough to set up house. Prospects look solid.
So they're focused on the suitable match aspects. But you're still thinking about that flinch.
And the way he talked about India, carefully. There's definitely more going on there.
Sunday comes. You wear a pale green cotton dress, still proper, but maybe a bit more relaxed than the first time, No corset drama today, maybe.
Let's hope not. You're getting the hang of this. Thomas arrives. Exactly 2 p.m.
And he has flowers. A little bunch of sweet peas, purple and white. They smell amazing.
Flowers are okay, right? Acceptable gift during courtship. Temporary. Modest.
Right. Miss Hartwell, he says, offering them. Saw these in my mother's garden. Thought you might like them.
As you take them, your gloved fingers just brush his. Tiny electric shock. Surprising.
They're lovely, you say. Maybe bury your face in them for a second to hide a blush. Sweet peas are my favorites.
I hope they might be, he replies. And there's something in his voice. Like, that wasn't just a random guess.
This visit already feels different. Conversation flows a bit easier.
He talks about his childhood, being the youngest son, the pressures. You share stories about school.
Then in a quiet moment, he kind of admits. London feels quite overwhelming after being away so long.
Wonders if he's forgotten how to be properly English.
Wow. That's vulnerable for a gentleman in that era, especially to a potential wife.
Goes against the script, doesn't it?
Totally. And your response is crucial here. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm sure you're fine."
No. You say something thoughtful, carefully. Perhaps it's not about being properly English, but about finding your own way.
4 years is a long time. You've had experiences most of us can't imagine.
He looks surprised. You're very perceptive, Miss Hartwell. That moment, that's real connection happening within the formal rules.
Over the next few weeks, those Sunday visits become, well, routine, comfortable.
Always 2 p.m., always 1 hour, always a chaperone mom, or maybe stern Aunt Caroline.
Sometimes in the parlor, sometimes a little walk in the garden if the weather's nice.
And the talks get deeper. Thomas mentions things indirectly, like having nightmares sometimes, when he explains why he looks tired.
Admits he writes poetry, but is too embarrassed to show anyone.
Talks about difficulties managing clerks in India, different cultures.
And you share more too. Your frustration with limits on educating women, your secret wish to travel, your love of novels.
Though maybe you don't mention the really scandalous ones you borrow from your friend.
Probably not. It's the slow process, isn't it? Revealing yourselves bit by bit. Still proper, but getting to know minds, personalities.
Then, maybe the 4th Sunday visit, Thomas raises the stakes.
He glances at your mother and asks you, "Miss Hartwell, I wonder if you might consent to accompany me to the exhibition at the Crystal Palace next Saturday."
With proper chaperonage, naturally.
This is big. A public outing. It's basically a public signal. We're keeping company.
His intentions are serious. Everyone will know.
Your mother stops her needlework. You try to sound calm, but your heart leaps. I would be delighted.
The Crystal Palace. Rebuilt down in South London, this incredible structure of iron and glass, like a fairy tale palace.
It's the symbol of everything modern, exciting, progressive.
Saturday comes, sunny day. You wear your absolute best dress, deeply silk, matching jacket, little hat, perfect white kid gloves, your beaded bag.
Thomas arrives with a hired carriage, an open one, a landau. Important so the chaperone can see everything.
And the chaperone today, Aunt Caroline. Stern face, hat like a battleship, eagle eyes, ready for duty.
The drive itself is an adventure. London traffic carriages, buses, carts, horses everywhere.
Thomas points things out. Houses of Parliament, Westminster Abbey, the bridges over the Thames buzzing with boats.
As you go south, the neighborhoods change. Smaller houses, more smoke from factories, that faint smell of bad drains.
But then you climb Sydenham Hill, and there it is, the Crystal Palace, sparkling in the sun.
It rises up like something from a dream. The gardens are amazing too. Exotic plants everywhere.
It's magnificent, you breathe out, forgetting to be reserved for a second.
Indeed it is, Thomas agrees. He offers you his arm as you get out of the carriage.
Inside, it's overwhelming, the scale of it. The central nave seems to go on forever. Fountains, plants, exhibits everywhere. Machinery, art, butterflies, things from all over the world.
Thomas is really attentive. Guides you through the crowds, waits patiently while you look at things. Finds a tea room so Aunt Caroline can sit down.
And it's in the tea room, and Caroline's busy with her tea and a scone.
Thomas leans in a bit closer, voice low. "Miss Hartwell," he starts.
I hope you won't think me presumptuous, but I find myself growing quite attached to these Saturday excursions.
"And to your company."
Whoa! Okay, heart hammering again. This is the moment before the moment.
You glance at Aunt Caroline, still focused on her scone. Good. You reply quietly. "I have enjoyed them as well."
He hesitates. I wonder if you might consider... Then he stops himself. But perhaps this is not the proper venue for such discussions.
He's signaling, testing the waters.
Yeah.
Saying he wants to propose, but knows this isn't the place.
And your response shows you get it. You know the rules. Perhaps, you say, very carefully, such discussions might be more appropriately held in a more private setting.
Perfect. Doesn't say yes, doesn't say no, but signals. I'm open to it, and I know the protocol.
You see the relief on his face. And something else. Deeper. The air between you crackles.
The rest of the visit is amazing, but underneath it all is that conversation, that feeling that things are about to change. Big time.
Tuesday evening. Storm raging outside. Rain lashing the windows. You're in the parlor with your mother.
Doorbell rings. Late, past 8 p.m. Way too late for a normal call.
Mary comes in, looking flustered. Mr. Thomas Weatherby is here, she says. Needs to speak with the master. Urgently.
Mother's eyebrows shoot up. Father comes out of his study looking confused. You peek out the window. Thomas's carriage is waiting in the downpour.
Show him into the study, Mary, your father says. You can hear them talking from the parlor. Low voices. Serious tone.
Your father says, indeed, a few times. Thomas's voice sounds longer, explaining something. Feels like it goes on forever. Maybe 20 minutes.
Agony. Then the study door opens. Footsteps. Your father comes into the parlor. Alone.
His face. Before he even speaks.
Elena, he says. Tone of satisfaction. Mr. Weatherby has asked for permission to pay his addresses to you.
I have given my consent.
Your embroidery hoop probably falls right out of your hands, clatters on the floor. It's real. Thomas wants to marry you. The deal with your father is done.
Father continues. Thomas wants to come back tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m., to propose directly to you.
Mother makes a little excited noise. Oh, Elena, we need to pick out your dress.
Mother, you say gently? Maybe. Let's see what he actually says first. But you know what he'll say.
The real question is, are you ready? Marriage in 1855. It's huge. Your legal identity basically disappears into his.
Property, money, any future children.
Yeah.
Legally, they all belong to him.
And yet, you're 22. Getting close to being on the shelf, as they'd say.
Family finances are okay, but not enough for you to stay single forever.
And Thomas, he really does seem kind, intelligent, seems genuinely fond of you.
Which, in a world of purely practical marriages, feels like incredible luck. The possibility of affection.
Wednesday just drags on. You try on dresses, settle on a soft gray wool, violet trim. Serious, but still looks nice. Hair won't behave.
2 p.m., Thomas arrives. On the dot. He's carrying a small velvet box.
He looks smart. Best black coat, stiff collar. But you notice his hands are shaking a little as he takes off his gloves.
Formal greetings. Miss Hartwell. Nods to your mother, who is present, of course. You're on the settee again.
Thomas takes the chair opposite. Same setup as the first visit, but the feeling, totally different. Electric. Final.
Miss Hartwell, he starts. Takes a shaky breath. Elena, if I may, looks at your mother for permission. I have spoken with your father, and now, with your permission, I would like to speak directly to your heart. He keeps going, finding his stride. These past weeks. Happiest of my life. Your intelligence, your kindness, your strength. I cannot imagine my future without you.
Then he moves, slides off his chair, goes down on one knee beside you.
Opens the velvet box. There's the ring.
Elena Hartwell, he says, voice trembling just a bit. Would you do me the tremendous honor of becoming my wife?
The ring. It's not huge, but it's beautiful. Small diamond, tiny pearls around it, yellow gold. Chosen carefully, you can tell. A real expense for him.
Yes, you whisper. Can barely get it out. Then clearer. Yes, Thomas, I would be honored to accept.
You can see the relief wash over him. He takes your left hand. First time touching skin to skin like this.
Slides the ring on your finger. His hand is warm, maybe a little rough from work. Sends a shiver right up your arm.
There, he says softly. Voice thick with emotion. Now it's official.
From the corner, your mother makes a noise. Definitely a happy sob.
The rest of the visit is a blur. Practical stuff. Announcing the engagement. Wedding in 6 months.
Gives you time to get your trousseau, all the clothes and linens ready, and for Thomas to sort out the house.
He tells you about it. Kensington. Small, but respectable. 3 bedrooms, kitchen, garden. Near his office.
It's not grand, he says, almost apologizing.
It sounds perfect, you tell him, and you mean it. Your own house, your own space to run feels like the ultimate luxury.
After he leaves, Mom descends with lists. The next 6 months, total whirlwind. But right away, things change.
That very next Sunday, Thomas can take you for walks, unchaperoned.
Just stepping out the door together, the two of you, feels incredibly bold, almost shocking, even though it's totally proper now you're engaged.
You walk in the park. Your hand rests lightly on his arm. New freedom, new intimacy.
I confess, Thomas says, pausing near a fountain. I was terrified you'd say no.
Really? You asked, surprised. Couldn't you? Tell.
He explains there's a difference between enjoying someone's company and being willing to actually marry them. Admits he worried he wasn't exciting enough, had those complications from India.
The complications again. Connecting back to that flinch, maybe. His time there wasn't just business trips.
Seems like it. And again, your response is important. You don't dismiss his fears.
Everyone has complications, as you say. The important thing is, can two people face them together?
He looks at you thoughtfully. You're very wise for someone so young.
These walks become precious. He opens up more about India, a bad fever, a colleague cheating him, how relieved he was to finally sail home.
You share more, too. Your secret fear you won't be maternal enough. Your frustration with how little women get to learn formally. Your dream of painting properly.
Maybe, Thomas suggests one day, you could take proper painting lessons after we're married.
We won't be rich, but comfortable enough for small luxuries. The casual after we're married makes it all feel so real, so definite.
Other privileges come too. He can visit you in the parlor without mom hovering constantly. Still has to leave before dark, though.
And now you can hold hands.
Sounds so simple now. But back then, for an engaged couple, revolutionary intimacy.
The first time he reaches across and takes your hand feels scandalous and totally right at the same time.
Is this proper, you might ask? Heart-pounding, even though you don't pull away.
Perfectly proper, he assures you. Maybe traces your fingers with his thumb. Though I admit it feels rather scandalous after weeks of keeping my hands to myself.
You laugh. A new ease between you. Letters become vital too. Thomas has to travel for work sometimes.
His first letter talks about missing your walks, missing your chats. Prefers Kensington Park to Manchester.
You spend ages writing back, filling pages with little details of your day, things that feel important now because you're sharing them with him.
Writing seems to free him up a bit, too. Less formal. He shares hopes for the marriage, the house.
You find you can write down fears and hopes more easily than saying them sometimes. The letters build this deep knowing of each other's minds.
Gifts become more personal now. Beyond the ring, the formal photos, Thomas gives you a leather-bound journal. Blank pages.
Inscribed inside. For Alana, to record all the thoughts too precious for ordinary conversation.
He has one, too. Suggests you both use them to sort through all the changes coming.
Your first entry. Just a swirl. Excitement, terror, real affection for Thomas. The sheer weight of it all.
Summer flies by. Wedding prep is intense. Endless dress fittings. White silk. Brussels lace. So expensive. A symbol of status. And practical lessons. How to be a wife. Managing a household, menus, budgets, linens, servants, dinner parties. This is the real-world knowledge you need.
And then there are the other lessons. Blunt talk.
Aunt Margaret takes you aside. The practicalities of marriage. It's not like novels, she says. There will be tough times. Need patience.
And then she gets to the physical aspects. Carefully worded euphemisms. What's expected. What you need to know.
Your face is probably burning, but you make yourself listen. It's necessary information you'd never ask your mother about.
Summer turns to autumn. Wedding date gets closer. You visit the house in Kensington together.
It's smaller than home, but bright. Nice little garden. You imagine living there, running it? Thrilling. Terrifying.
It's perfect, you tell Thomas, and you mean it.
A week before the wedding, Thomas asks for a lock of your hair. Common custom, but feels intimate.
Mary cuts a small piece. You wrap it carefully for him. He gives you a lock of his hair in a tiny silver locket.
Something of mine, he says simply, to keep close to your heart.
The last week is chaos. Relatives arriving, final details. Thomas visits every day, sometimes twice. The formal distance is completely gone now. Just comfortable affection.
You find yourself actually looking forward to it, not just because you have to get married, but looking forward to this marriage with this man.
Thursday before the Saturday wedding, Thomas takes your hands in the parlor, looks serious.
Alane, he says, whatever challenges we face, I want you to know I will always try to be worthy of the trust you're placing in me.
And I, you reply meaning it, will strive to be worthy of yours. Outside, Linden carries on. But in that room, the future feels possible, shared, good.
Saturday, wedding morning, gray skies, drizzling rain. You wake up in your childhood room for the last time.
House is already busy. Your dress hangs there, like a ghost made of silk and lace.
Mary brings breakfast. Toast. Weak tea. Your stomach is in knots.
Nervous, miss? Mary asks softly.
Terrified, you admit. She nods. Tells you her sister felt like she was about to jump off a cliff on her wedding day. Not entirely helpful.
Mom arrives, aunts, female cousins, friends. Time to get dressed. Takes almost 3 hours.
Corset laced even tighter today. Beauty requires suffering, apparently. Bustle, crinolines, feels like wearing a tent.
But then the dress goes on. White silk, lace. You look in the mirror. Wow. Transformed, elegant, grown up, beautiful.
Hair done, flowers pinned, grandmother's veil, tiara, mother's pearls. Your mother tears up like an angel.
Carriage ride to St. George's Church. Rain streaks the windows. Dad sits beside you, quiet. Just pat your hand now and then.
Watching London go by, life just continuing, while your whole world is shifting.
Arrive at the church. Vestibule smells damp, wet wool, old stone. Hear the guests inside. Ready, my dear? Dad asks. You nod. Can't speak. Doors swing open.
Church is packed. Faces turn, some familiar, some strangers. Organ music swells. You walk down the aisle, Dad's arm steadying you, train rustling.
But you only really see Thomas, waiting at the altar.
And when he sees you, he smiles. Not the polite social smile, something warmer, personal, just for you. The start of something real.
This ceremony, kind of a blur. Ancient words. Love, honor, obey, cleave. Thomas puts the ring on your finger, his mother's wedding band. His hand is steady.
I now pronounce you man and wife. Done. You belong to him now, legally, socially.
A kiss? Brief, chaste. Correct. You turn, face everyone. Mr. and Mrs. Weatherby, the world looks slightly different.
Wedding breakfast back at the house, big feast laid out, you can barely eat. Corset, nerves.
Champagne. Congratulations. Advice from uncles. Funny stories from aunts. Thomas stays close by your side. Protective.
Reality starts sinking in. Tonight, you sleep in your new house. As his wife, the abstract becomes real. Daily life. Intimacy.
By 5 p.m., guests are leaving. Time to change. Traveling dress. Dark green wool feels like shedding your old skin.
Good guys are tough. Mom crying openly now. Dad trying to stay stoic. Right soon, Mom calls out. Be a good wife. Carriage pulls away, leaving home.
Inside the carriage, Thomas takes your hand. Are you all right? He asks, voice soft.
I think so, you say. It's just, everything's different.
Yes, he agrees. But different can be good, can't it?
The house in Kensington. Looks small, but cozy. Smoke from the chimney. Mrs. Davies, the housekeeper, is there.
Front door opens. Mrs. Davies greets you. Welcome home, Mrs. Weatherby. That title sounds so strange.
House is ready. Flowers, firelit, smells like food cooking. Mrs. Davies shows you around. Your rooms now. To manage, to live in.
The bedroom overlooks the garden. Your trunks are there. Thomas lingers in the doorway. Looks almost as nervous as you feel.
I'll leave you to that, he says. Dinner's at 7.
You sink onto a chair after he leaves. Just breathe.
Married.
In your own home. Tonight. Sharing this room, this bed. With this man who you know but also don't. Not in this way.
Mrs. Davies offers tea, help unpacking. You just need a minute alone.
Dinner? Candlelight? Small dining room? Just the two of you?
Oh.
Roast chicken? Garden vegetables? Tastes good. Even if you're not hungry.
Thomas talks plans for the first week. No visitors, just time to adjust. You discuss practical things where books will go, seeing the kitchen, meal planning, this mundane stuff.
Yeah.
This is married life.
After dinner, the parlor. He reads the paper.
You try to embroider. Quiet. Domestic. But tense underneath, waiting.
9 p.m., Mrs. Davies comes to bank the fires, bids you goodnight, gives you this look, makes your cheeks burn, and then you're alone with your husband.
Alana, Thomas says softly, puts his paper down. I want you to know.
I understand this is all very new for you. We needn't. There's no pressure for anything to happen quickly.
His kindness, his consideration, it means so much. Because it is strange, isn't it? You know, his mind, his character, after all that courtship.
But this, physical intimacy, with someone who was basically a stranger 6 months ago. Totally different territory.
Thank you, you whisper. That means a great deal. Eventually, you go upstairs. He shows you his dressing room, gives you privacy to change into your nightgown.
Alone in the bedroom. Take off the traveling dress, put on the fancy trousseau nightgown, brush your hair at the new dressing table, your room, your life.
Thomas comes back, nightshirt, dressing gown, sits on the far side of the bed, leaves space.
Elena, he says again, quiet, gentle. I meant what I said. We have our whole lives to figure this out together.
You look at him, face serious but kind. Your husband. He reaches across the space, takes your hand. That gesture felt revolutionary before. Now it feels deeper, more uncertain.
We're going to be all right, aren't we? He asks. You hear the vulnerability in his voice, the slight question.
Yes, you say. And you find you actually believe it. Yes, we're going to be all right.
Those first days, weeks, they're a blur, right? Adjusting. Learning little things.
Like how he likes his coffee strong. That you are definitely not a morning person.
He hums when he shaves. You have strong opinions on arranging bookshelves.
Mrs. Davies is a lifesaver. Helps with menus, accounts, schedules, running a household. Way more complicated than you thought, but satisfying too.
You write your first letter home signed Elena Weatherby. Feels weird at first, but gets easier.
Thomas goes back to work. You're alone in the house.
Which is liberating, a bit overwhelming. You get to structure your own days now.
You rearrange furniture, go shopping as Mrs. Weatherby. Feels different, carries weight.
Sometimes you try cooking dinner yourself. Simple stuff. But the look on Thomas's face when he likes it, worth it.
Turning into quite the housewife, you might say, admiringly.
I'm learning, you smile back.
A rhythm develops. His work routine, your days managing the house, writing letters, social duties starting up.
And the intimacy. The part that seems so scary. It develops gradually, naturally. Thomas is patient, gentle. It's not frightening. Not like Aunt Margaret may be implied.
6 weeks in, you host your first dinner party. 3 other couples. Feels like a huge test.
Days of planning, polishing, flower arranging, but it goes well. Lively chat, good food, people compliment your hosting. Afterwards, sitting with Thomas, you both feel that buzz of success. You were magnificent tonight, he says, loosening his collar. So proud of you.
Really?
Absolutely. Wonderful addition to Kensington society.
Autumn turns to winter. You realize the change is done. You're not just a daughter anymore. You're a wife, a woman.
The fears have mostly gone. Replaced with the steady comfort of a shared life. You miss home sometimes, sure. Feel overwhelmed sometimes.
But there are new joys, making your own home, pursuing your own interests, painting, music without needing permission, and this deepening affection for Thomas.
One snowy night, sitting by the fire, it hits you. Thomas, you say quietly, I'm happy. Truly happy.
He smiles slowly. So am I, my dear. So am I. Outside, London sleeps. Inside, you've built something real. Yours.
Spring 1856 comes around. You're actually gardening, getting your hands dirty. A freedom you never had before.
Thomas finds you out there, looking pleased. Looks like you've been wrestling the earth and winning, he jokes.
I quite enjoy it, you realize. Your painting's getting better, too, with a real teacher.
You read novels you couldn't before, discuss them with Thomas like equals, then he gets news. Considered for a promotion. Mr. Peterson's job. Big salary jump.
Your heart skips. More security. Better prospects. Maybe. Children soon.
You talk about what it could mean. Bigger house, more staff, a carriage. But you also stop and appreciate this house, this life, right now.
First anniversary in the autumn. You're not that nervous bride anymore. Confident wife.
Quiet celebration. Dinner at home, the theater. Walking back, arm in arm, under the gaslights. The love feels deeper now. Steady. Sustaining.
Do you ever think about how we met? You ask.
Often, he says. I remember thinking you looked terrified.
I was terrified, you laugh.
Yeah,
Ever
sure.
properly talked to a man I wasn't related to without mom watching, and you asked about my reading and actually listened.
You were the first woman who spoke to me like a person, he says seriously. Not just a potential husband.
That honesty. That's a gift of marriage. You know about his nightmares now, his adjustment struggles. He knows about your quick temper, your stubborn streak, how you cry over books.
And somehow, sharing those flaws, accepting them, it deepens the love. It's not fiery passion, it's comfort. Knowing each other.
Winter brings a real challenge. Thomas gets sick, feverish, stuck in bed for 2 weeks. First time you really feel that fear, what if? Partnership and hardship.
You nurse him, sit with him, talk for hours during his recovery about childhoods, India, things you never covered in courtship.
Hello, wife, he whispers when the fever finally breaks. Weak, but himself.
Hello, husband, you reply. Relief floods both of you. He suggests you should write books. Your observations are intelligent, he says. Startles you. Respectable women don't really do that. But the idea, it's planted.
Spring. Promotion comes through. Salary increase. You celebrate with a trip to Brighton. First holiday together.
Walking on the pier, the beach. It's during this trip you start to suspect.
Back in London, the doctor confirms it. You're expecting. About 2 months along.
Telling Thomas that night, his face shifts. Confusion, understanding, then just pure joy. A baby, he says, like tasting a word.
Our baby, you confirm. You're both laughing and crying across the dinner table.
Pregnancy changes the rhythm again. Everything orbits the coming baby. Nursery prep. Thomas gets protective. Make sure you rest.
Your mother visits with lots of advice, some helpful, some old wives' tales. Physical changes happen. Thomas is just patient, considerate, buys you a wider chair.
You're being ridiculous, you might tease him.
Appropriately considerate, he corrects, smiling. Creating a human being merits extra attention.
Snowy December morning, second anniversary just passed, labor starts. It's long, hard. But when they put your daughter in your arms, pain vanishes.
She's perfect. Tiny fingers. Alert. Thomas's dark eyes, your chin. She's beautiful, he whispers beside you. Looks just like you.
She looks like herself, you murmur. Hello, little one. You name her Charlotte, after the author. Proper, but with spirit.
First months are a blur. Exhausting. Charlotte's demanding. Mrs. Davies hires her niece, Sarah, to help. Thomas helps too, when he can.
Babies are tyrants, you sigh one night sleepless.
Definitely your daughter, he grins back, tiredly.
Charlotte grows. James arrives a few years later. Then little Mary. The Kensington house is full now. Chaotic. Delightful.
You and Thomas become established community figures. Church board, school board for him, charity events for you. Younger couples sometimes ask your advice. One night, Charlotte, maybe 5 years old, asks you, putting her to bed, Mama, how did you know Papa was the right person to marry?
How do you explain Victorian courtship to a kid? You talk about getting to know each other carefully, enjoying his company.
But how did you know he'd be a good papa? That's harder, but maybe clearer too.
You admit you didn't know for sure, not then. But you saw qualities, gentleness, honesty, how he cared about your feelings even when the rules didn't make him. Signs he'd be a good man, a good father.
Later, you tell Thomas about our question. What did you say? He asks. You tell him. I was right, wasn't I?
He's quiet for a moment. I hope so, my dear. I certainly try to be.
Years go by. You think back sometimes. That whole elaborate system. Etiquette, chaperones, rules.
And yet, somehow, something real and lasting came out of it. A life built together. Not fiery romance, but partnership. Respect. Affection that grew.
Quiet evenings together. Reading, talking. Easy conversation now. Built on decades of shared life.
Yeah.
Do you wonder what if? Sometimes, but you can't really imagine it differently.
The world outside changes like crazy. Trains, gaslights, photography. But the rhythms of home, of marriage, they feel constant. Still about kindness, consideration, shared joys, shared troubles.
Looking back, you see the purpose in that structure, that Victorian courtship thing. It gave you a framework, didn't it? To really evaluate character, compatibility, before you jumped in.
The constraints. Maybe they weren't just annoying, maybe they gave you space. Space for gradual discovery, knowing minds before bodies, understanding character before sharing a future.
Modern ways seem so fast, so unrestricted in comparison. But maybe there was wisdom in that slowness, that patience, building on friendship and respect first.
As you blow out the lamp, heading upstairs, you feel grateful for that odd social machine. Without it, would the serious young man from India and the nervous girl in London ever have found this?
Your story started with that formal knock in 1855. Two people trying to see if they could fit. It continues now, decades later. House full of memories, comfortable silence, true partnership.
That Victorian era, all those rules. It created a path, a structured way for love maybe to grow slowly, carefully, like tending a garden. And sometimes that produced something really strong, really lasting.
In the end, that's what it was like. Not necessarily a fairy tale romance, something deliberate, maybe. More durable. A careful dance to find someone you could actually trust. With your future, your hopes, your life.
As you drift off to sleep years later, Thomas's hand finds yours. Natural now, easy. You know you chose well. Or maybe the system helped you choose well, led you here.
The world keeps changing. But that human need for connection, partnership, that's constant. And maybe, just maybe, the Victorians, with their patience and their rules, understood something important about building lasting happiness, something about friendship, respect, being the real foundation. Last thought before sleep.
His hand in yours. Knowing you built something that lasted.
This whole deep dive, it makes you think, doesn't it? That maybe those boring, strict rules weren't just obstacles. Maybe they were a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut? How so?
A structured way to find someone you could genuinely trust with your future. Building affection slowly on that solid base of compatibility and respect you'd already discovered.
So what does that tell us about finding connection today when all those constraints are gone and it's all about spontaneity? Is there something we lost? Or something we can maybe relearn from 1855?
Yeah, something definitely worth pondering until our next deep dive.